Hey everybody, this is Drew.
And it's Blake.
And you're listening to the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 68. Before we get to the episode, let me go ahead and run through our social media, internet, Preamble presence. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord just by searching the name of the podcast.
Yeah, that's for general, direct interaction more than anything.
You can also find us on Spotify. Spotify, as well as having the podcast, also has a playlist that Drew moderates and adds to depending on, if it's one of his episodes for music or not.
Yeah.
You can also, right now, as you're listening to this preamble, you should be able to hear a bed of music, or we pick between a few of them. And if you're interested in having either some of your music played as this bed of music, or you're another musician and you would like us to speak about your music on the end, one of the episodes, feel free to email us at the number 2 smokingcontrollers@gmail.com. We also have a Lock Stock store. We got t-shirts, hats, I think koozies, maybe, and
all kinds of stuff.
And a glorious pair of underwear that we're hoping someone will model for us eventually. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions of other merch that we should include, you can use that same email to get a hold of us. Now, I have a little bit of self-promotion. I co-host a brother podcast, Action, the movie podcast, with our good friend Steve Wedding. That podcast, me and Steve take turns each episode semi-surprising one another with a movie, and then we don't discuss that movie at all until we actually record the episode. That way neither of our opinions affect the other one and how they should feel, so when we actually sit down and finally talk about it, it's the first time either of us are hearing the other one's opinions and stuff like that. And so that tends to be a pretty fun time. Now, actually, is a perfect time to catch up on that, due to us being on a small hiatus while Steve moves states. He's got some stuff going on, but we should be up and running again on that here shortly, I would hope, because he moved and then the holiday happened.
Yeah, he's just got to get his new house set up and his internet and the podcast space. He's just got a lot of work to do.
We should be able to get to it pretty soon, I hope. And I have a short story that I've published through Amazon that you can find called They Come This Night. And we're going to continue to promote this until I write something new, which I'm working on, but with video games and movies and all that stuff.
2 podcasts.
It's a little hard for me to do that and working 12 hours a day. Anyway, now all of these things can be found in links in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And you'll notice we didn't mention Twitch like we usually do. We have a fairly special, I guess, announcement for that. You want to take over that, Drew?
Yeah. We've started doing our co-op Twitch streams. We recruited and got our cousin Brian playing with us, and we played through a couple of different games with him, and then we thought about maybe bringing him in and making him a part of the podcast and the stream stuff in general. So we're going to be doing, I think Blake called it Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers presents 3 Smoking Controllers co-op endeavors.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, the name's not all that mess on the Twitch. I'm gonna use our original Twitch channel to do this. I'll just be naming it the streams different things to match what we're doing. But Brian's going to be joining us for all our co-op streams in the future. And if you, like I say, if you think me and Blake are too dull on our own, he breathes a little life into the conversation and gameplay and whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's good to have a third voice sometimes. We'll be doing that. I'm going to try to be rotating if Twitch will let us, rotating our POVs each time. Each time we stream, you'll be seeing from a different perspective. It'll be me, Blake, and Brian. You'll be seeing each time if everything works out correctly. We haven't fully launched this. We've been doing a few test streams and stuff like that. And it's going to be coming pretty some semi-regularly because we can't do hard dates because we all got different families and different things going on. So you'll just have to watch us on all your social media and catch us when I'll usually announce things a few hours ahead of time. You can come on and join us and watch what we're doing. We did a sitting of Dark Souls 3 the other night, which was pretty entertaining. It's Brian's first time even playing Dark Souls 3. Me and Blake have played it, but it's been a couple of years, and we're kind of using this as a warm-up to eventually do Elden Ring together. As we get through games and stuff like that, there is a game that we all streamed, but not under this new moniker, I guess you would call it.
Not just yet.
We have completed a game together, and the idea is we'll have Brian on the podcast for special episodes dedicated to our streams of games we've completed. So it'll be like one game on an episode. It's a game that we've all played start to finish together. We have completed a game. I don't want to announce it right now. We'll all figure that stuff out later. But we will eventually be doing an episode. There's no spot yet exactly. I'm kind of still working out the details. You're seeing behind the scenes, I guess. Not that it's very exciting. But I'm either going to make it as part of the main episodes, or I might do just special co-op endeavors episodes in the podcast. You might just get extra episodes in between the numbered episodes. I got to figure out what I want to do with that. But it should be fun and should make our streaming more enticing to watch and have another voice on the podcast every now and then, besides just our guest episodes, because he would be in special episodes and not count as our guest episodes, because we have a guest episode coming up, and I didn't want to put Brian's first podcast on top of a guest episode. That seems kind of like bad planning, so I'm going to try to do our guest episode. So you probably won't see a Brian episode, or whatever you want to call it, a co-op endeavors episode, until a few episodes after our next guest. We have a guest lined up. It's just a matter of scheduling that and recording that. We're pretty excited for that guest we got. I think that's all I have for that. I think I said everything part of that. Mm-hmm. Sounds right. And I think that's it. So we have, away from that, we have this week we have 2 games, and Blake picked a anime show because he realized he hasn't done an anime TV show. We don't watch a whole lot of anime, but there's a bit here and there. He picked an anime show we haven't watched in like 5 years, but he picked an anime show nonetheless.
All right. So the first game we'll be talking about is called The Garden Between. Now, it originally came out September 19th, 2018. And since they are the developer and publisher for their own game, not everyone gets to be. They have been, I think in 2020, they ported it to Stadia. And then much earlier in 2022, June 16th, 2022, they ported it to the PS5. And as of right now, they have made 5 games. And I think they haven't made another one since they've been working on their own ports for this, because this is their first console game. So they are called the Voxel Agents. They are based out of Melbourne, Australia. They've been around since 2009. And I said they've made 5 games. Now, kind of a cool thing for them is their very first game. Well, I may have spoken about this once before, I think, but these 48-hour challenges that are issued to indie studios.
Yeah, I don't know how you make a game. Lots of big companies get involved in these things, and they all crank out these like a playable build of a game in 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And it's no sleep, lots of caffeine, lots of Red Bull. What's that? Gamer Fuel, Mountain Dew Code Red.
It's funny how we have like this big time in the news, like crunch culture is so bad, but then they have these powwow things they do for 48 hours, which is clearly like a 48-hour crunch, but those are praised because they're quote unquote fun to do that. But crunch on the other end's like the worst part of the industry. It's funny.
Pushbacks and we need you to work 18 hours today, or you can't go home, and
it's weird. But I just had that weird thought.
And so their game actually was well enough received that the year it came out was actually the top 5 best indie mobile games of the year that it came out in a 48-hour challenge. So I think I'm sure once it came out, they may have retroactively gone back to like fix some things. And so that game was called Train Conductor.
Mm-hmm.
And they've since made 2 other sequels. There's Train Conductor 1, 2 USA, and 3 The World. And they're, as you can tell, you're a train conductor. You go down the tracks and you just like, do I go left, do I go right, straight?
I mean, not that we actually really know what a train conductor actually does on a day to day.
They honk a horn and they just
occasionally run into a bus.
Occasionally. That's not their fault, though. They also have another one called Puzzle Retreat, which, as far as I could tell, seems to be one of those match 3s, which are all the rage. But I
feel like a match 3 is that like, I'm not saying this company did it. Like a match 3 seems like to go out and like the money grab. Like see if this match 3 grabs. There's a billion match 3 games. Do companies just put one out in an effort? Do they just put them out in an effort to make money? I don't know. Match 3s are so popular for like the people who just like stare at their phones and just match 3 things together. They're like really popular. I wonder if small companies or other companies. I'm just saying big companies have done it too. Like they just go online, like, we're going to a mobile game and make billions of dollars, and it turns out it's just another match 3.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. I don't know how you go from train conducting to match 3, and then from that to this.
Honestly, to maybe subsidize some income.
Yeah, it's sad they have to do that though. If that's the reason, maybe.
Because the Voxel Agents was just 3 folk.
Mm-hmm.
When they first started. Now they're up to about 7. All out of Australia, all doing their kind of own thing. But they have to supplement the income somehow, because I'm sure they all have jobs and are doing this stuff in the wee hours of the morning or evening.
Yeah. You're a small company. I forget that when you're a small indie developer, it's not your main job usually. I mean, people will quit their whole jobs and lives and just focus on building a game when they have that much passion. But I think majority of indie developers, it's not your main source of income, especially if they don't have a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
If they're self-publishing, then that's out of their own pockets and stuff like that. That means that's just not their main job.
Now, do you want to talk about the graphics first or the mechanic? The graphics first.
Yeah, we should start with what the game looks like usually.
Yeah. All right. It is, the best way I would describe it would be like Pixar-like.
A little bit Pixar-like, yeah, maybe.
It's
not as bubbly as Pixar kind of looks, but like
some of the things are flamboyant enough, the environment-wise.
It's always hard to describe a game. If you don't know what the game looks like, I have attached a link to a trailer for the game and on the game's name in the show notes. If you want to take a quick glance at what the game looks like, it might help you. If you haven't played it already, it might help you kind of get a visual for what it looks like. Because describing graphics sometimes, in the world of video games, we say this every episode, in the world of video games, it's hard to describe graphics if it's not one of the dime a dozen pixel games. Any game that actually tries 3D can have so many art styles, it's just hard to nail it down.
Best way, because the story that it does tell is it's a childhood story, similar to some of the Pixar things, and so and it does look good.
It could be a whole movie. I mean, I'm surprised Pixar hadn't made a movie about this.
It'd be pretty cool, actually. I'd watch it. So, with that being said, the game is it's a side-scrolling puzzler
Yeah, you said 2.5. It's sort of 2.5D. It's weird to explain it because you don't control the characters.
You're on rails.
You're on rails, and what you're controlling is the forward and backward movement of the world. Like it's really neat to kind of see. Like when you first get control, it tells you to hit right, and you kind of watch it, and your characters like they wake up from whatever's been happening, and they stand up, but you're not controlling them. Like you're playing. It's like a 3D movie, kind of.
Maybe.
Man, that's good for the Pixar reference. It's like when you're holding to the right, you're just kind of hitting play on the events of the movie that's playing out, and the characters stand up and walk around this first little island. I don't think they're all. This island's kind of round. I don't think all the levels are all the levels round. I don't know if they're all.
They're cylindrical.
Sort of circular. And you're kind of watching the events play out, and you're like, okay, why do I just watch the entire game? You do watch a lot of it, but then you have your characters are able to
very, very limited interaction with the world.
Like the first thing you see is you walk past this lantern, this light, and then like the game's tutorialing you. Like when the girl walks by the lamp. Oh, you got their name. That's right.
The girl is Arena or Aranea. And the boy is Frent, Frendt.
Are these common Australian names?
I don't know. Arena and Frent.
But when she walks by the lamp, you can actually interact with the A button on Xbox, and she'll pick up the light out of the where she has a lamp or something, and she collects the light out into the thing, and then the lights. I forget what the lights used to get rid of the darkness, or
there are these flowers. They're either these a bud or it's bloomed, and if it's bloomed, it sometimes has like a black hole that'll suck the light away, and you have to
get the light to the end to open the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so different things are like it's interesting how they could just be hitting forwards and backwards, and there is a limited number of interaction, but can make for complicated ways to get this light to the top of the level.
The altar
at the top that opens the gate to go to the next level. The boy he's able to ring
because he's I guess maybe it's a sexist thing, I don't know, because he's taller than she is, and her hands are full holding the lantern, so he can interact with these chimes. And now these chimes do a plethora of things, and I think different colored chimes do different things. Some of the chimes you thwack, and it makes the black hole flowers bud again, go bud instead of bloom.
It just alters their state.
Alters their state if they're budded or bloomed.
Is that not the only thing the chimes do?
Well, there's that, and then there's a blue chimes, which will target, or within it has a specific area, radius or whatever, and it'll. Within that radius, you can choose to fast forward or rewind while the rest of the world is still.
I don't remember that. That sounds extra complicated.
Well, because I remember a point, because you're going through, we'll explain it more in a little bit, but at one point there was a fax machine, and it was going down, and as it was going down, a sheet of paper came out, and it blocked your view behind it, and so you didn't know. And so for him, you would activate the chime, and it would activate that specific piece of equipment. And you would go ahead and shoot the sheet of paper out. And then as you walked over it, the paper would fall, and you'd be like, oh, cool, here's another chime we can interact with. But you couldn't interact with it because you couldn't see it.
Interesting. I don't remember that.
Admittedly, it's been a long time since we played these, so I watched a brief kind of a playthrough, walkthrough, just so I kind of like and I skipped through it and saw a couple of different things.
Yeah. It's not a very long game.
No, not at all. No. Do you have your time?
My complete time, it says I'm right a little over an hour and a half for the whole game, and a full 1,000 gamer score.
I got the full 1K. Mine says 5.5.
We run into this continually on the podcast where I do games in a fraction of the time it takes Blake, but
maybe I'm a slow reader, or I don't comprehend what I read. I don't know. I know I don't comprehend what I read, which is incredibly weird for how much I do enjoy reading, but I like audiobooks.
Yeah.
But
so you need audio guides?
Well, I don't know,
but you hate videos.
Yeah, but I've read books in my youth, like in high school and stuff. I'd read books, and I still remember stuff that I read in those books. And I'm like, why am I not? Maybe because it's just being locked in my short-term memory. Because I'm like, I know I'm never going to have to redig this memory out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like reading it. And I'm like, I'm just not understanding what I'm reading. I don't know. I'm an idiot.
All that leads to a 5-hour game that's really an hour and a half long.
Well, with that, and I gotta walk my dogs and crap like that too.
Same stuff we say every time.
Yeah.
We'll probably say it again on the next game.
Now the cool thing is, we said earlier, because the game has a single base mechanic, which is the time manipulation. To the point you literally hold forward and your characters will auto jump across things and
it's weird.
Even go down separate paths separately and stuff like that.
Interesting to see. Like you said, is it time manipulation? I mean, it kind of is, and kind of because you're not.
Well, it is because
you're sitting forward and backwards and nothing.
It's time manipulation for sure. Because
yeah.
as you're moving forward, two standout puzzles that I can remember is okay. There's one where you're it's a dripping faucet, and it's just dripping, and then there is a live wire that's been split. Mm-hmm. And you have to walk back to a certain point to where the water droplet lands and acts as the conduit for the electrical wires to surge through, and it triggers a light. Cool. And then at that point, you can have the boy interact with a door to open a door. Mm-hmm. And then you can now go forward with the electricity done, but the door is now open.
Yeah,
just kind of weird.
You have to time it right. Make sure you're looking at the right character at the right time as you hit the right moment.
Because sometimes they're split up, but they're both split up on the same screen, and you could be following.
They're doing different things.
They're interacting, but they always end up back together. Mm-hmm. Because you remember the water droplet one, and then there was another one that was I'm trying to remember this one that was kind of cool. It was a
lot of that water level was pretty cool.
Water level was probably the standout.
There's probably cool stuff throughout, but there's a lot of stuff in that water, like timing them to get across. I forget the mechanics of it, because you're just trying to jump across all this kind of all this stuff falling off this waterfall, and you're going trying to get across the different objects,
like logs that are come down the waterfall.
Logs and trash and all kinds of other stuff you're trying to cross on its way down.
The other one was I think it was like a boulder is falls, and there's a giant like rib cage.
A rib cage?
I think it's either a rib cage or a rock face, but something hits
like a rib cage of an animal.
Yeah, like an old, like in the desert, like you come across old bones of camels or cows and stuff like that. Because it's just because what's happening. I haven't really talked about the story that much, because the entire story, from what I can remember, is there's no VO. It's non-verbal.
Is there no voice acting?
Mm-mm. Well, there's like, like those little weird noises that they make them like, but there's no VO.
Yeah, of course.
And so
visual storytelling.
So what it is called the Garden Between. The two friends, Arena and Frent, are next door neighbors. Mm-hmm. Arena is your tomboyish, adventurous, gung ho, young woman, and Frent is the shy, bookwormy, would rather stay at home read a book. And so they're just they're neighbors and they're best friends. And their garden between is literally, there is a sliver of land that's like, it's in between their houses, but it's also behind their houses. It's the garden between.
Yeah,
simple.
It's just this little thing between them. Yeah.
And everything, all these little islands you go through are memories of stuff they've done back there. Little adventures they've gone on. Little games they've played. That's how the levels
are built, with different objects that are tied to.
And so I'm assuming
their time together.
I would assume that, and I might be getting what wrong. I think it was a rib cage. If not a rib cage, then it was a rock face, and that was a slab of rock that fell. But I swear that it was a rib cage, and it was a bone. And you rewound for it to be complete.
I wonder what it was. Yeah. Huh.
I could be remembering that part wrong, but that was pretty cool, because you had to go down fast and have Frent do the little wind chime to fast forward it to where the bone was down. So as you was up. So as you walked back, by the time you got all the way back to where you were, the bone was completely down, and then you got to go up.
I remember the bone falling. Was it a bone?
I'm pretty sure it was a bone.
Okay.
Like a rib cage bone or something.
Yeah.
And so it's time. I 100% say that it's time manipulation, as well as the brief interactions that the kids have. Now, you're like, oh, it just seems overly complicated with the time manipulation. Yes, but it's a kind of on two separate occasions, the lead designer for the game, which is a gentleman, Henrik Peterson. He's the director and he's one of the lead designers. He, what's what I'm looking for? He categorized it as people, like, you're always like reliving your childhood memories, like your happiest memories, over and over and over again. And so the whole point of this game is you're literally playing through these childhood memories over and over and over again.
Yeah. Aren't there in between? Is it in between every level or in between sets of levels? You do get these little mini cutscenes of them doing something together.
In the real world, yeah.
In the real world, you get little cutscenes like them doing.
I guess you say chapter, because the game has like 5 chapters.
I forget how it's divided, yeah.
Or 5. I'll say chapters.
Worlds?
Worlds with levels inside, yeah. It's a standard thing, but I didn't think it's like that.
There are little mini cutscenes between. You can see them doing other things. It's the whole thing's about their little friendship.
And it's kind of funny because even they talk about it. Is these two kids are vastly different, and it's weird that they're friends. And they even talk about it. It's like sometimes you're best friends with somebody as a kid, but you're really only best friends with that person
because they're there.
Because they're there. There's no other kids around, and even though you have nothing in common other than the fact that you're kids, and that's why they tried their best to make the two kids as separate as possible, because there's no reason these two should be friends other than their distance to one another.
And they're neighbors, yeah.
The fact that they're neighbors. And sometimes when you're a kid, your best friend in the whole world is literally just the only other kid in your neighborhood. But these manage to form strong memories and strong bonds. Which is just kind of weird that even people who have nothing in common,
This is what you do when you're a kid. You just gotta have somebody to play with.
Exactly. I do briefly want to talk about the music.
Does the music play when you hit play, or is the music always playing?
It's playing in forward and playing in reverse.
Okay.
It is, they actually got a local composer, an Australian composer, a gentleman named Tim Scheel. He is an Australian radio announcer as well as an electronic musician. Best known for hosting radio shows Something More on Triple J and Arvos on Double J. I don't know what those are. They're Australian radio stations, and I apologize. He composes and performs music often in collaboration with other music, and he has composed a couple of video games.
Any other games we've ever heard of?
Okay, it is The Garden Between. He's done 3 total. The Garden Between, Induction, and another one called Duet, which is a 2013 another Australian-based game developer on iOS and Android. You control 2 colored orbs, guiding them to avoid obstacles.
Yeah.
And
I haven't heard of either game. So my bad.
I'm assuming they're both Australian-based, maybe.
Yeah.
And the music was good, though a little repetitive, but that's also because you're rewinding and playing, rewinding and playing, rewinding and playing. So, the game is fun and good.
Is that your main opinion? It is fun and good.
It's interesting. It is interesting, and
there's a lot of things we can't even for a short game as it is. I mean, I don't remember every inch of it, but there's a lot of different fun things you see during the rewind and the forward, and the different interactions you get with the 2 characters. And you could just, I don't think you can. You can't just hit to the right and the game will complete itself. So you couldn't just
it is a puzzle.
You couldn't just hit to the right and just watch things happen. Though until you hit a puzzle, you can rewind and rewatch them doing different things, because they don't just walk. They don't just like walk to the right. They will stop and pick at things and pick things up and talk to each other. And there's different interactions, different things they do that's building their story, building their relationship together as you watch this stuff play out. So it's interesting to watch them move around and do different things. I wonder how strange it was to develop a game like this, because you're not like, I don't know. It's a very, very. I never seen a game that plays like this. When how weird it was, how hard it was to develop something like this, where you're just developing like these, like developing a weird movie that occasionally changes. Like I just wonder how they develop something like this.
I don't know. It does seem strange. It's also one of these when you have these non-verbal stories. It's all visual. You have to like, because there's even like random things like as you're progressing through the level, they have put in small moments where one of the characters will just kick a can or pick up a rock and throw it out into the water.
It's just the random things you see.
They have nothing to do with anything other than they're just kids playing. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that seems like that's a lot.
They'll point at something, like want to point and try to get the other to look at something else.
They'll
walk over from where they were walking, walk over to them and look and have a little interaction, and they'll split back up, and it's just all this stuff that just plays out. You might not catch it all when you're just trying to run through and figure out a puzzle. So I think it was not good to take your time and kind of watch what they're doing, to watch the kind of story put itself together. Even though the lack of voice acting, we argue about lack of voice acting, but I wonder if this game, it's because if you're rewinding and play, if they're repeatedly saying the words over and over again, it might become obnoxious. I could kind of see it in this game a little bit.
Some of the puzzles get progressively more complicated, like always, but we had a guide, so we didn't.
Yeah, with a TA guide.
I'm not a very smart man when it comes to like lateral thinking.
I just don't care about puzzles. I say that, and I'm like, at the same time, like we're not going to talk about the game right now, but we sent back. We got a GameFly game that I sent back because it was puzzles, and I could not find a guide for the life of me. I'm just like, I'm not enjoying this at all. I don't want to do this without a guide, and it's just like hurting my head, and I just don't feel like doing this. So we sent that back. We might like do it later. It might not be on a GameFly episode because we might pull it back because the game was kind of cool. I might pull it back on GameFly if a guide ever launches on TA or something. But at the same time, on the side, I've been playing like off of Xbox. I've been playing Breath of the Wild, and all of Breath of the Wild's puzzles are kind of intuitive and like I'll say easy to figure out. But like the Breath of the Wild puzzles have the aha moment, which I think is key for any kind of puzzle games. And like I hate puzzle games, but I like Zelda.
Yeah.
When it's one of its core mechanics is doing the shrines and doing the puzzles in the shrine. Like the shrines are just big puzzles, is all they are.
But those are usually fairly simple. They're not like
Zelda puzzles can get mind bending. Like it is. Now I'm not all that terribly far. I've done like I've done like 15 shrines, but like it's just weird the development of different types of puzzles, and the way you do puzzles can be so different in video games that majority of the time we just hate puzzles. We follow a guide. Like I haven't looked at a guide for a single puzzle yet in Zelda because I was able to figure out what I need to do because the game, the way it's hard to. Everybody's played Breath of the Wild except for me and Blake, of course. But when you're playing it, it is, like I said again, it's intuitive, and like when you're looking at a room and like it gives you like the name of the shrine, it tells you kind of what you're going to do, and you look around, you're like, okay, I got this, I got the tools to take care of this, and it's kind of neat how it works out. Except for yesterday, I spent some time on a gyro puzzle, which I absolutely hated. It uses the stupid gyros in the Switch controllers, which was dumb. But this is not the Breath of the Wild podcast. I'm just saying as an example for good puzzles versus puzzles that give me a headache. I forgot how I got on this tangent about puzzles, because this game has light puzzling, and a guide. So yeah, I mean the game, these puzzles are interact with this at the right time, and then to make something else happen later. So these are more timing puzzles, but it's like you can't fail in this game, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of just, so you'd kind of more, sometimes you could just like hold to the right and watch things happen until they can't walk forward no more. And then you would kind of rewind, you can rewind back to find, like slowly go back to find the interactable object, and you interact with that and it changes something on their path. That's more or less what you can do. So I think like you said, some of the later stuff would have been more or less a headache. And I think the guide, I think there might have been achievements that required doing certain things at certain moments that would have popped certain achievements. But I don't really remember any of the achievements because I did all this in one sitting months and months ago, so I don't remember all of it exactly. You got any thoughts on the puzzles or anything like that?
Not really.
You said the water drop puzzle was one of the cool ones.
Probably one of the standout ones would be the most.
Getting the water to drop between the conduit, between the it was like a torn wire, and the water drops and connects the power. That was kind of cool.
Because like I said, the whole game's fairly short. I think it's 20 levels,
something like that. Yeah,
they're all really fairly quick.
Yeah, everything's pretty fast when you get down to what you're doing.
I did overall like the game, and all the reviews and stuff were generally
very positive,
above average, like 7s, 8s.
That's
stuff
good.
Like, nothing with like 10, but it was about I'd say between the high 6 and 8.
I guarantee this game has naysayers who like when they're turning the game on, and I'll say there's a good percentage of people who turn the game on, and as soon as they realize they don't control the characters, they turn it off and go online and tell everybody how bad it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that people are like, oh, this is stupid.
You don't even control the characters. 0 out of 10. So I'm sure it's got a bunch of that going on. Maybe you just stick with it. You know, it's definitely a unique experience. I'll give them that. They thought of it kind of a weird thing. I don't know if I would care enough to have played another game like this. Once you've done the gimmick, I think you've kind of, you know, an hour and a half I spent with it. I get the gist. I hope they wouldn't develop another game kind of like that plays like this one. You did it.
Yeah.
Go back to Train Conductor 4. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I want that Train Conductor 4. Give me Galaxy. Give me Universe.
Train Conductor Universe.
Or give me Moon. give me the next trilogy, Moon, Galaxy, and Universe.
I think we originally. You got any other thoughts on this? I know it's a short game, so it's hard to.
Yeah, I don't really have too much because I don't want to accidentally spoil the ending or something like that.
Yeah. We originally played this on Game Pass, of course. This was one of the things we would have snagged as it was leaving Game Pass, and knowing it was short. That's how we are. I swear we're not a Game Pass podcast. I think the other game, our other game was also Game Pass. We're not a Game Pass podcast. The game to buy is $19.99, $20. I think that's a little high. I hate to say that for indie studio. I think it's a little high. I mean, it's not bad for a indie price, but the game is so short, and I think has very little to no replay value. I think $20 for an hour and a half or 2 hours is steep.
Yeah,
I cut that in half. $10 is a little more
reasonable.
A little more reasonable for as short as the game is, and there's no replay.
It's also only short because you and I used a guide. If people don't use a guide and try to play through it might be.
It's average. Well, people depending on it's average on TA is 1 to 2 hours. That's averaging 51,000 players.
There's also people using that guide.
Possibly, but I mean, I'm saying still. I mean, what you might get 3 hours out of it. Like
I got 5.
You weren't playing all those 5 hours though. Even 5 hours is. I mean, 5 hours for $20 is not bad actually. But like, I think around the $10 range, you wouldn't be disappointed in this game. Granted, if you want to support indie studios, give them the full $20. You know what's $20 to support an indie studio? Yeah, so do it. Yeah, I think it was cool. I played other games from this company. I'm not going to go to their back catalog and play these train games. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play a match 3, but we'll see if we stumble upon anything they do in the future. Every now and then we stumble across the same company more
doing
than once.
Something kind of cool
in this podcast. So that's all we got for that one. We should move on to the next game, which just recently left Game Pass, so we had to get on it.
Don't judge us. So the last game that we'll be covering is called Last Stop. Was developed by Variable State, which is technically a worldwide company because it's only 3 people, but they're based out of Dublin, Ireland, what was it, UK.
3 folks in 3 different places.
Yeah, so they call themselves worldwide. But they're 3 different countries, basically. Yeah. So they've been around since 2014. Veritable State is their second game. They are currently working on
Last Stop is their second game.
What'd I say?
You said their company name.
Oh, okay, yeah, my bad. Last Stop is their second game. They, however, kind of doing some live note-taking, just double-checking myself. They're currently working on a third game simply titled Game 3, and they're currently hiring in 4 positions.
Yeah, if you need a job, go to their website, see if you got.
They're looking for a permanent full-time for an animator, environmental artist, senior Unreal programmer, and a senior level designer.
There you go.
So they're going to expand from 3 to 7.
Nice.
4, 5, 6, 7. So I had to make sure I did my math right on my hand. I couldn't make sure. But so if anybody out there is an animator, environmental artist, or is familiar with Unreal or level design, holler at them. They're hiring. Just go to their website, variablestate.com, and hit the jobs. And send them an email with your application.
Tell them you heard about them from us.
And so their first game, I don't think we've covered it on here, but it's something that me and Drew played. Their first game is called Virginia.
Oh, we talked about this before.
We did talk about Virginia?
No, off podcast. We talked about... It's funny we just mentioned, sometimes we play multiple games from the same company. Mm-hmm. I could not... We've done this podcast for a couple of years. I cannot remember if we've covered Virginia on the podcast. That'd be a hard game to cover on the podcast. I mean, maybe.
Well, it really is just be like a video game version of Twin Peaks or an X-Files episode, because it gets kind of weird and wonky.
Yeah, I don't think we've covered Virginia. But anyway, that's cool. So we've played both their games then. I will say...
I'm kind of thumbing through my notes. I'm not seeing Virginia in here.
I'll say on a passing thought, I may have enjoyed Virginia more than this. I say on a passing thought, like as I'm thinking about my faint memories of Virginia, which is a shorter game than this, I think, considering how you play Virginia and how you go go through this.
Now,
there's.
I was gonna.
We gotta get into this game, but did I like Virginia more? I don't know.
I'll say I liked Virginia more. Not because they're similar gameplays, but how this does is it...
That explains something. Something in my notes I want to bring up because Virginia does it too. We'll talk about this. Sorry, we got to get into this game because there's something this game does which annoys the crap out of me, and Virginia did the same thing. It's funny. It's the same company.
All right. Now, Last Stop is a third-person adventure game. There's not...
Yeah,
really, it's mostly dialogue.
It's obviously it seems like it might be the wrong word to use, like a cheaper Telltale game.
Yeah,
it just plays exactly like a Telltale game. You just kind of walk around. The walking around in this game,
you don't even interact with stuff hardly.
You don't.
You don't interact with a Telltale game.
Yeah, this is less interactive. I don't even know why you walk from place to place, but we'll get to more of that stuff here in a minute because I got a couple of things to say about this game, but. In essence, it's a talking game. People call it like a walking simulator / talking game, and we'll get to the walking here in a minute. But you're just making choices that, per usual in this genre, choices that mean nothing in the scheme of things. So why even bother? But anyway.
Yeah. So it's a third-person adventure game, and it's divided amongst 3... Well, you have a prologue, 3 stories, which each have 6 chapters, and then an epilogue where everything kind of comes to fruition. Mm-hmm. And you follow the 3 stories are Paper Dolls, where your 2 main characters are Jack and John. Mm-hmm. You have Domestic Affairs, where your main character is Mina. Mm-hmm. And then your final one, which is Stranger Danger, and your main character you follow is Donna. And now, admittedly, some of these chapters you play through are literally a scene.
They're like 2 or 3 minutes long.
They're not very long at all.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So,
and I'll say that of the 3 stories, there's definitely one that is less fun to play.
Yeah, I think everybody agree that was it called Internal Affairs? Domestic Affairs. Yeah, I don't like that one that much. I see when this was announced to be leaving Game Pass, and I see a couple of Reddit posts about. Always see Reddit posts about things leaving Game Pass, and I saw quite a few posts about this game, and people mostly like Paper Dolls.
Yeah,
that seemed to be kind of like a consensus. The third girl seems almost pointless.
Almost.
Like her whole thing just doesn't kind of add up in the end. You're just kind of like, oh, it's some stuff kind of happened and then it's kind of just over. It's really strange. But Paper Dolls has the most personality and the most interesting stuff. Like Paper Dolls, we can go into it right now. Paper Dolls is, and these all end up being connected in a weird way in the end. We're not gonna go through the whole thing. I don't think we got to hit certain points. But Paper Dolls is initially about these two characters, and they end up this other man. They bump into this guy on the train, like they're running or something, and they bump into this guy and knock him down. He gets mad and like he goes, "Oh, you're made for each other." And he like does some weird green magic stuff, which you don't ever see that guy again.
Yeah, you do.
You see him? Oh, you bump into him in the very end.
He's
of the game.
also in the prologue.
He's the guy in the prologue too. Yeah, the weird prologue, which isn't any of these characters, is it?
So it's its own separate.
Okay, we start back in the prologue then. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself because there's like a bunch of weird stuff in this game. And I got some good and some bad things to say about this game.
So before we do that, art style is very kind of comic booky and, like we said earlier, kind of like Telltale, but I'll say graphically smoother.
It's smooth. It's not. I wouldn't say comic booky because this doesn't do. This is not doing the drawn style of the Walking Dead games. This isn't drawn like the Walking Dead or the Wolf Among Us. It's not drawn. These are 3D models.
But they're kind of caricature-y, so I just figured maybe.
No, they're not comic booky though. Mm-hmm. Just like kind of sort of plain 3D models. But they at least all have faces. I don't think people had faces in Virginia.
No, they were. Well, they had hairstyles and like either a big honker of a nose or something.
Yeah.
But it does do the thing where the characters who are important.
Oh yeah, it's weird. Yeah, main cast have. Okay, so yes, all background like
are minimalist. They're definitely a boy shape or a girl shape in
it's kind of a
minimalist.
Not kind of disconcerting sometimes. That's the right word, disconcerting, when you're like watching your main characters and then like somebody walks behind them and they have no face.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like, oh, what's going on? And it has nothing to do with the game. It's just how it's
budget constraints.
And I think budget constraints probably more than anything. So I don't want to. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of. Ooh, I'd rather see like the same generic face over and over again maybe than see like faceless people walking by all the time. Mm-hmm. It kind of pulls you out a little bit. But the prologue does cover a different cast. You see a couple of hints of things, and the prologue kind of matters for like the prologue matters to the final chapter. Basically, there's characters in the prologue. A little bit of a spoiler warning before I start this. We're going to spoil a little bits of this game because you can't talk about a story game without spoiling bits of it. So maybe if you kind of are interested in playing this game, I'll be honest, I don't think this game is all that good. We're not talking like early Telltale levels of stuff, anything. This is a very indie, very not sure what they were going for kind of story here, in my opinion. I don't know how we had talked about it off podcast too much that I didn't really care for this game all that much.
No,
we talked about it. I mentioned Brian earlier. We talked with Brian about it a little bit in past off podcast. We talked with Brian about it because Brian wanted to play it because we were going to do it on the podcast. We talked about a couple other things about this, the same stuff we're going to be saying. He kind of agreed with some of the stuff too. I don't think the game's all that good, but I do want to do a spoiler warning. And in case you want to play the game, maybe skip. Don't listen to this at all because we got to talk about the story beats about how this thing is to get any kind of thoughts across. That said, some of the stuff you see in the prologue the characters you see in the prologue don't matter again until the end of the game.
The epilogue.
Like you watch the prologue and you're like nothing matters, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, that's because that's the guy from the prologue.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, like it just doesn't like. It's so strange. When I was talking about it off podcast again with Brian, it was like he had started it and I was like, I don't know, this game's very, I called it back heavy. Like nothing matters until the end of nothing matters until the end of the game. Okay. Nothing anybody's really doing matters until the final chapter. And I find that it's like just like a waste of time. Because the stuff everybody's going through, it's like a lot of it's meaningless. Like we could talk about like the domestic affairs stuff. Nothing she's doing matters.
No.
You know, and she's not fun to play as because she's an awful person.
He's an absolutely
So I don't know if you want to get into her for a little bit, because you can play the thing kind of in any order. Like each section, you can play Airbase Chapter 1s, you can play Airbase Chapter 2s and Chapter 3s. Actually,
You have to play.
you have to play them. So you have to, but you can play all their Chapter 1s in any order, but you got to play all the Chapter 1s before you can play Chapter 2s. I did Paper Dolls, Domestic. What's the last one?
The Stranger Danger.
Stranger Danger. I did them all in the same order: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. So I always play Paper Dolls
I did
first.
too.
So okay, so maybe we should do Paper Dolls first then. Sorry, I'm all over the place. This game's a mess.
All right. So as we talked about earlier, Paper Dolls. We follow Jack and John.
And John's daughter.
And John's daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's some other details. In all honesty, for Jack and John, what happens is John is an older gentleman past his prime. I'd say late 40s, closer to 50.
Mm-hmm. Has a young daughter.
He has a young daughter, middle school. She's like 9,
Yeah.
10. And then they have, because his name is John Smith, he's a very unfortunate, just an average guy.
Yeah.
And then he has a fella who lives in the same building as them, or I think he lives in the building across the way.
Their mail gets swapped all the time.
His name is, oddly enough, Jack. And his last name starts with S too, but I don't really know what it is.
I don't remember why their mail gets swapped. It happens enough that
It's a common occurrence. That like at least once a week they're like, hey, they swap post. But Jack is a, like, you know, in his 20s, active jogger, real, you know, outgoing individual, is a dick. Mm-hmm. He is a jerk face for sure. And so at one point, like, their inciting incident, like we said earlier, is Jack's in a rush to get his jog on. He's like jogging in place, and they're riding a trolley. I
forget why they're on the same train.
Because they live in the same neighborhood to go to the city to work.
Okay.
And when they get to the city, Jack immediately goes to like run off the thing, and he bumps into a gentleman who's carrying a briefcase, and he falls onto the guy's briefcase. Now John goes to help the gentleman up, and Jack's like, "Oh man, come on, blah blah." He's like, "Won't you pay attention, Jack?" And they start arguing right there because they already don't like one another really. And that's when that dude's like, "Oh, you guys are perfect for one another," and grabs both their hands and helps himself get up. He does the weird glowy green eye thing, and it gets all Freaky Friday, but you don't find out until the end of the chapter.
Yeah, they both wake up in their other person's apartment. The guys switch their bodies for whatever reason.
Now, as them being the best characters. They're the best characters in the game.
Yeah, we can go kind of bounce to your favorite moments, I guess, throughout their stuff. I can see why people like them the most, as we'll talk about considering the other two things. These two guys have a lot more personality. I think the girl helps their interactions because at first they try to run through they're just confused and try to figure out what's going on. Eventually, they go to each other and and figure out what's going on, and then I think they just end up telling his daughter, and she's just kind of like, okay. And she just kind of goes with it, so they start all living in the same place. Because the guy's got to, because, you know, like, they talk a lot about the legality, of dudes, Jack's and John's body, but John has to stay with the girl, otherwise he can lose custody of the girl. But since John's in Jack's body, he wants to be around his daughter, so he kind of just starts staying in their apartment.
Yeah.
So it's very strange, but they are funny together, and they're very strange, and the girl's kind of.
Whoa.
And they start concocting these. One of the great things, they concoct this whole thing to do each other's jobs, and then they both end up getting fired from each of their respective jobs. And then you come it's confusing. Jack comes home in John's body, and he's like, "Hey, I got you fired," and like John is all mad, and he was like, and then in your dialogue choices, he's like, "Well, now that you mention it, I kind of sort of got you fired as well." Like the first day they both went to each other's jobs, they got each other fired. That was a fun little scene to play out.
And there's some other kind of fun, interesting moments. Mm-hmm. And it's like an upward and downward spiral for the two of them. Mm-hmm. Because being a young man thrown into an old man's body, and you're like, wow, what is happening here? It's literally like going to sleep and then waking up 25 years later, and there's a good little mind trip and mind thing for the both of them, really.
Yeah,
because who doesn't want to be like, oh, if I knew now what I knew then, and be thrown in a body that's 20 years younger than you are now. Mm-hmm. And there's that cool play. I'm trying not to spoil some of the things that actually happen, because what happens to them is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But like you said earlier, their story is cool, but other than that initial interaction and them spending the rest of their story trying to figure out how to swap bodies back, it has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they eventually, I already gave a spoiler one, they eventually, in the end, one of them, well, dude ends up in the, so I said spoilers. Huh?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, too, is you go through all three of these stories, and you kind of making semi-choices throughout the whole thing. But the entire game boils down to each character has a single choice at the very end of the game. And that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else you do matters.
Yeah. Nothing matters.
And it was just, it's kind of...
I wish people wouldn't keep making these games.
Yeah, if you're going to do a branching storyline, give me a branching storyline. Or don't. I don't know. Because a lot of the reviews I read for this are like, I'd rather have just watched this. If I don't really have any control over this interactive video game. Mm-hmm. Now, like we said, like Telltale's, like when you interact, at least you have, it's the illusion of choice. Things still have to happen, but
we call it the illusion of choice, because me and Blake would actively make different choices in Telltale games. They all play out the same. We've talked about this in the past.
But for the most part, I mean, like, oh, this character might die, but then this other character's alive, but that other character still, their whole attitude changes. Because
there's nothing you can do in this game that changes anything.
No. Except for your final choice.
Which we talked about. That doesn't matter either.
Honestly, no.
Yeah. So.
But, like, because I don't want to spoil what Jack and John's choice ends up becoming by the end.
Yeah. I don't even remember it, honestly.
But they are the heart of the story.
I feel like, yeah.
In all honesty. And then, because they have some cool, fun moments where, like, ooh, because John's in Jack's body and he starts getting a lot of notice from other women. He's like, I don't get notice from women. And so he starts getting kind of like, again, like it's a cool thing to see it play out, and it is fun.
Yeah, it's a Freaky Friday kind of thing, but like an old man and a younger man, it's I don't know, there's lots of different scenes about it, but it doesn't really go anywhere. There's a big incident near the end.
Yeah.
We could say it. I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody cares.
Let's say it's just, like we said earlier, spoiler warning. If you haven't played the game, stop now, go play the game, and come back.
Mm. But Jack's in John's body, and John has already had heart problems, so Jack in John's body has a heart attack. Like, gets too excited at some point and has a heart attack.
He gets mad.
And he ends up in the hospital, and it's like he's going to die. And then so John in Jack's body doesn't want to let Jack die because of his body, so he's trying to do his best to get to find the guy with the briefcase, which all leads to the final chapter, because the guy with the briefcase you don't see again until the final chapter. And when you run into him, it's such a lackluster event. Like, it's such a, oh well, there he is event that I just like.
He's like, oh, I did do that, didn't I? I'm sorry. Take this and go shake his hand. You'll be fine. It's just instant cure. It's just
like, what? It's like, he goes and like John in Jack's body goes to this whole thing and meets this other weird character just to find his way to the, because you see the green portal in the prologue, so he's trying to find another green portal. Like, he just ends up having to find another green portal.
Yeah, because Vape Lord.
Because this weird guy named Vape Lord, he's like, "What's your name?" It's like, "I told you, I'm Vape Lord." And I was like, "This is stupid."
Yeah.
But anyway, his whole thing leads up to his 6 chapters lead up to him walking through a green portal. All of them end with him going through a green portal. So he goes through a green portal after the heart attack. His whole goal is to change back. So I guess he's going to change back so he dies instead of Jack.
Well,
he has a daughter. So I don't.
The final choice for for John, because John is technically the main character because you play as John. Mm-hmm. It gets John in Jack's body. Your final choice gets down to
swap back or not.
Screw John or screw Jack. Let him die in that body because I like this young body. Or to swap places. Yeah. And just make better health choices and try to stay alive as long as possible.
So it's like, I think he survives regardless. It doesn't matter. either you don't swap back and he gets better, I guess. I don't remember both the endings, like or you do swap back and he just survives anyway.
I think it's silly.
It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like it's all so pointless. That's what drives you crazy about the whole experience. It's just like, oh, nothing. I hate when nothing matters. Like I said, like people say that it'd be better if you don't spend so much effort trying to write choices into a game where choices don't mean anything. Stop wasting all that effort writing choices where you could just spend better time writing a better through line.
And then we have some like because there's not really a lot of interactivity.
Yeah, we haven't got to that yet. I guess between this and me, we talk about the running around town. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like your writer spending more time and effort making a better story than spending so much writing time diverting these. Like you have each conversation has 4 freaking choices and they don't matter. Then don't make the game that way. You have a better story people would be talking about if it wasn't diverted in all these directions that don't matter. You'd have a stronger story.
Exactly.
Like there's weird, interesting things happening. Like if you didn't spend 18 chapters to get to the stuff that matters in the end, the stuff that's actually interesting and weird in the end, and then the game just ends when you get there, don't waste 18 chapters getting there.
Exactly.
It's just like, what in the world, man? I mean, I know it's only their second game, but even Virginia was focused. Focused as in you can walk one way in Virginia.
It was a single case, and you had interactivity where you search for evidence. You looked
like Virginia. Well, how do you go? Maybe they thought Virginia was too tame. I don't know, like why they thought to just blow it up like they did with this, but like Virginia was focused.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Very strange. But in between Paper Dolls and Domestic Affairs, we talk about like they call it a walking simulator. And this is something that leads back to Virginia too. Is you can walk around this town all the time for no reason. Like you can walk from in between talk scenes, you walk from one place to the next, but you're never walking directly there. The game does these hard jump cuts, so you can't. These very disorienting jump cuts from like you walking in a direction and then you just pop and you're somewhere else walking. And you just pop somewhere else and you're walking. And Virginia did the exact same thing.
And I'll say another thing, too, in regards to the jump cuts, is it happened to me sometimes is when there's dialogue going on, sometimes it's internal or sometimes someone's on a phone, and I noticed it, especially when I was going back through and like doing a little bit of cleanup in the achievements, because I missed one or two, because for whatever reason the choice didn't trigger, I don't know why. So if I was listening to dialogue, I stood still and let the dialogue play, and then I kind of walked, and then when I walked, it just kind of like did like one jump cut to like where I was supposed to be. But if I was still listening to dialogue that needed to be listened to and I would walk through, it did a series of jump cuts because it wouldn't actually take me to where I needed to be until the dialogue was over.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
It was weird.
Because it had to finish the dialogue?
Because it wanted to finish the story. Because I literally had the thing where I was walking down the street and then the dialogue finished and I was like, cool, boom. And as soon as I got to the end of the thing, I was at the office building. Now, when I wasn't waiting because I had to go clean up something, I was literally running down the street, and her phone call was still going, and it went like by the bakery, and then it was like by the bus station, and then to the office. Like there was a whole extra scene because the dialogue was still going.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but I guess because otherwise, if you'd made it to the building, the dialogue,
or you'd be standing there waiting for it to play out, maybe,
or you'd be because you got to the building and then you went inside and a whole other scene played. They wanted you to hear that dialogue. I thought it was super weird.
Very confusing way to.
Why have the jump cuts? Just let me walk.
Yeah, or don't give you control over the walking because there's literally no point in you having control of the walking.
Yeah,
you're not walking anywhere to interact with anything. You're walking between talk scene to talk scene. There's nothing you do in between. There's no achievements tied to going anywhere.
No.
So why give you control? Just do a walk and talk from one place to the next. There's just no point. And the jump cuts are very disorienting. Like I said, Virginia did it too, and it's so funny it's the same developer. That's one of the memories I have of Virginia is walking in Virginia, and all of a sudden you cut and you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
You cut and you're somewhere else.
Oh, yeah,
it's like, I get it, it's a style to like movies and stuff do it too. I don't like it if it doesn't help these stories, and it makes like maybe they don't care about the town. So all these people are in the same town, okay, or same.
It's London, modern day London, 2022
okay.
London.
If you're trying to build now, are you trying to build a map of London, a small map of London, of these small towns, this small, little part of London? Are you trying to build a map so we can kind of like learn our way around? That doesn't matter because you're not really going anywhere. So the jump cuts just make you disoriented all the time. Like you don't know where you're going. They're like, oh, we're going over here, and you're like, I don't. You run down an alleyway or you run down a street and you can go left or right, but like to the right is like an invisible wall, so you got to run to the left, and then it jump cuts and you're somewhere else as you make that turn. And you're like, this is just it's so disorienting.
Because again, for Virginia, I remember there being one thing that's like, ooh, you're in your office. You know, you get your coffee cup, get your files, and you walk out the door. But as you walk out the door, the next thing you have is you're walking up to the crime scene. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, that was a ridiculous. There wasn't like
this might be like a company signature or something. Jump cuts is like their signature.
Also, again, like it is 3 dudes, and one of them's just a composer.
Yeah.
So it's just 2 dudes doing everything. So they're trying to consolidate and do budget and everything.
I don't know if it's an artistic choice or what, but it makes it hard to follow where you are a lot of the times.
Now, we've kind of pooed on it a bunch. I hate that we poo on it so much because a lot of effort does go into it. The entire game is voice acted wonderfully.
Yeah, the voice actors are fine.
All the voice
they're not at all
good.
the problem. The writing is the problem.
All the art direction is good.
Yeah, it's not a very pretty game, but
it's good.
It's okay. I don't think it's anything to write home about.
Now we'll get to Mina.
So it's like the characters you like, characters you hate the character you hate in the middle story, and the third story is characters you just don't care about.
Don't care about.
Yeah. So I hear now this is domestic affairs.
Now, we follow Mina, who could be an interesting character because she works for like a big corporation that's real dodgy, and like she's like it starts out she's asking all these like personality questions of like, hey, if we did this, giving her a psych eval for a promotion, and you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. She's like a privatized super agent, so this could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then
she's cocky as all hell.
Oh, she's real cocky. And you get out and you meet a newcomer, and she's kind of she's kind of mean to her for no reason.
Yeah.
And then you get out and you make it to what appears to be your home, and you knock on the door, and there's a cute flirtatious banner between you and your husband. Like, oh, this is kind of cute. She's in love with this guy. And they go upstairs and they have a nice stress relieving little thing. It just kind of fades to black, and she gets up, gets dressed, and leaves. And you're like, oh, that was pretty fast.
And I guess she walks 3 doors down.
And you leave there, and you're like, okay, why are we leaving our house? And like you said, you literally walk. You're on the same street. You're like a few houses down. You unlock the door and you go in, and then your husband and your child are there. He's like, hey, honey, I got dinner ready for you. She's like, okay, babe. And you're like, what the what?
Yeah, it's just so weird. Domestic affairs. I mean, it's but like
you have
she continually has this affair, which affair stories are in everything. Like there's lots of affair stories, but it doesn't mean anything. It has in the scheme of everything that's happening, her having this affair with this other guy means nothing.
Other than the fact that you're not supposed to like this
I think you're just supposed to not like her. They make you. She's so mean to everybody she talks to. She ends up killing.
No, she witnesses a murder and could save someone's life and just says, nah, not my problem.
It decides not to save this person because it's that girl from earlier. We said spoilers. That girl jumps in to do something, ends up getting shot. She's like,
defend her because she thinks she's in a bad situation.
So she gets her killed, and she continually just walks around. All her chapters are like walking around threatening people. It's all
threatening blackmail, threatening violence, and then the entire time, her husband, he was like, "Go spend time with your kid."
Keeps cutting back to like scenes of him him like making dinner, her not showing up, or him texting. Oh, you got these text threads of him texting and her, her lying. Her responses are lying.
Or her flat out ignoring the text so she can text her booty call.
Yeah, exactly. But this is all normal affairs. I say there's so many affair stories in the world, but like, why is it in this game?
Because the company she works for, literally.
So she works for, leading up. Now, granted, we're going to skip a lot of this because a lot of her thing
are just her being a horrible person.
It's just her affair and her lying and her like. It's her 6 chapters are nothing but this. Come to find out, her little green door situation, which leads to this somehow. Is the company she works for is like ran by the guy who's in the prologue. There's a guy in the prologue who like loses his friend, runs through the green door in the prologue, He's young. He's young in the prologue.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it's the guy running the company she works for. But like, why is she so mean? Why is the company so weird about everything and so like locked down on this whole, like, it doesn't make any sense. And then he works and like he's evaluating, all her evaluations are like to make sure she's stable enough to go through the green. They found one of the green doors or green portals, like, and his whole company is to figure out
who the
to pick a person. And they have her she's awful and terrible and doesn't give a shit about, doesn't give a crap about what he's doing. Or this other girl that he picks, this young girl who he handpicks her because she's smarter and maybe more stable. And then, but Mina, whatever her name is, I mean, the other girl gets killed for being a better person, I guess. And then Mina still becomes the only choice to go into the green door.
Yeah. And it's not like one of those like, oh, she's an anti-hero. She's kind of got moments and stuff like that. And you're just like, no, this character
just terrible. She's terrible
deplorable.
throughout. And like, the dude like watches this in the prologue. He watches his friend run through this portal and just run through it and disappear. And he never sees her again. But he builds this entire company and builds this whole thing and then like this special suit to put somebody into this portal that he knows nothing.
Suit.
It's like cosmonaut suit. And like, what?
Well, because they don't know what's on the other side, so they make sure she has oxygen and stuff like that. They don't, and it's like almost like an exoskeleton because it's got like she has to crawl into it like a bit of a robot.
I guess this is a lot of for something he knows nothing about.
Exactly. They don't know what's on the other side of the door. You have to prepare for all situations.
I guess.
But she's got oxygen, slightly enhanced
but
strength,
like
and weapons.
Nothing that she's doing in her chapters, or any part of her job, her day-to-day job, whatever her day-to-day job is, because it makes no sense. Mm-hmm. If that entire company is built around putting somebody into a exosuit to go through a portal, what is her job? What's she doing? Why is she so mean? Why is nothing in her day-to-day, in any of her chapters, training her for this mission? It has nothing to do with anything she's doing. It has nothing to do with what she's doing. Has nothing to do with this big company. Like, it just,
because it could be different.
And then she just gets into the suit like she's been doing it every day.
Yeah. And
goes into a little. She gets lowered down. So I say a door. They have a green portal they found buried in the ground. It's still a green portal. So however he's a millionaire. However he found that. But like, why is it not training for this? Like, there's just no. It has nothing to do with what she's doing. Like, I just don't understand her chapters at all.
Because it'd been cool. It was like, oh, like, you know, if you were getting into a suit, like, oh, she's practicing for like a deep dive or something. Like, it kind of like give you a false sense of what you knew were going on. Mm-hmm. Or she's doing combat training. You're like, oh, she's prepping she's going to go to war or something. But no, it's just her being an absolutely disgusting, horrible person. Because one of your chapters is breaking into that girl's house to try to find material so you can blackmail her.
Yeah. The whole chapter dedicated to just trying to blackmail that girl.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh my, I hated her.
And like antagonizing. So the guy she's having an affair with, his daughter. She's one of the characters in the other.
She goes to the same school.
She goes to the same school as one of the other girls. So she has a part of her chapter where she's like antagonizing, like threatening that girl.
And that girl, mind you, is like a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah, like threatening her so she doesn't tell anybody about her an affair with her dad.
And she's like, "You're having an affair with my dad, and you're married. Leave my dad and family out of this."
Yeah, it's just like nothing in her 6 chapters mean anything. Again, nothing in her 6 chapters mean anything to the final chapter.
Until literally her chapter 6 and epilogue.
She's the least. She has no connection to the final chapter. When dude John, whatever, has to find the guy for the body swap, he's got to find that guy.
Yeah.
So he loosely has a reason to go into the portal to find the guy. She has no reason
other than her boss.
Her character has no reason. The chapter. Why is she in this game?
They could have picked someone better.
She has no connection to anything. She's even pointless in the final chapter. She serves no purpose.
Well, she does. She kills some people.
All she's good for is killing, I guess. She's the person they got for killing. I just don't...
She's heartless. Imagine.
It's just 6 chapters of completely wasted time just to get to her in the final chapter to... No reason for her to be there. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You done with this character?
With that garbage woman. No, that's not being sexist, but that particular person, unfortunately, is a woman, and she's garbage and horrible. She's just a crappy human being.
There's no redemptive.
There was nothing.
You thought maybe it would be lead towards a redemptive thing in the end. Her final choice is save your family or don't save your family. Like,
her final choice
is like,
her final choice comes down to her boss is he blackmails her. He's like, I got pictures of you leaving the crime scene of that girl dying. Mm-hmm. Now I can turn this over to the police and have you arrested, or I can keep quiet and you just go about your life. And
I don't remember. I mean, I kind of vaguely remember it. I was so worn out by the end of that.
Yeah, I hated her chapters. Basically, I ended up picking. I was like, oh, she could go to jail, but I think she'd be happy because she wouldn't be near her family. So I picked the choice where she was forced to be with her family. I figured that would make her more miserable because I hated her so much.
Yeah. It's one of the worst characters I've ever had to deal with in a video game.
Awful. Like, I remember, okay, random side note, like reading certain books. What book series was that? Okay, it was the Game of Thrones series. Mm. Now, there's a couple of the chapters, because each chapter changes POV of who you're playing. And one of the POVs is you're in Theon's head. And I thought that was gross. Being in Theon Greyjoy's head, where he treats people horribly, and he's like, oh, let me just bang this farmer's daughter and be on my way. Like, it was disgusting to read and be in his head, but it was, it was worse than that, because you had no way to do anything nice. You have the controller in your hand, like, ooh, maybe I can make some better choices for her. Maybe she's just a bad person, I can make her good. No, she is just disgusting and horrible the entire way through. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I hate you. I hated playing her chapters because I'm like, oh, you're going to make me make choices that I hate.
Yeah.
I hate this.
But there's just no, what do you call it? There's no payoff.
For her, no.
There's no payoff for her being bad. Like, I don't mind for her being bad all the way through. There's some sort of payoff or any kind of reason.
Yeah.
There's no flashbacks. There's no anything about her that explains why she's so bad. There's no explaining, ooh, I've done bad things for this company that have changed me. There's none of that. Mm-mm. We don't even know what she does for the company. No. It's never said. Like, what do you walk around and intimidate people? But why? Nobody freaking knows what this company does. Like, nobody cares. Like, and what she do, nobody cares. Like, what? I just don't. My mind is blown by this character. Like, I just don't understand any kind of purpose about this character.
We can move on because we're talking in circles about how much we hate her.
I don't know. Somebody who's played this game on the end, or anybody who's played this game, write in to us or something and explain to us the point of this character. Maybe we both missed something completely, but like, I just don't. It's unreal. The amount of time spent writing and the amount of voice you pay somebody for voice acting, the amount of voice acting they'd have to do to put this character into a game. Just, I don't know why they're in this game.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the final story is called Stranger Danger, and you follow Donna, who is a high school student. Her story, Stranger Danger, because you end up meeting a guy who is just called the Stranger. Mm-hmm. He's a taller, I'd say like 30s black gentleman. I don't. Is that pointless? I don't know. I don't want to say like if he's just a
just a guy.
A black.
They do repeatedly say the teenage girls repeatedly say how hot he is.
Well, the guy does too.
Oh, the
he's
guy
like,
does.
well, he's kind of attractive. I get what y'all are saying, And so, because what happens is the story, you kind of go hang out with your friends. And the boy is like, oh, hey, look, it's that guy. And they're like, what guy? Like, oh, that guy. He's like, I've seen this guy bring home a different woman every night over the last 2 weeks. And they're like, well, yeah, look at him. He's a player. He's obviously gorgeous. Look at that jawline. Like, they're just all hot and bothered by him. And he's like, yeah, that's not the weird thing. He's got play. But I haven't seen a single one leave.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's probably just a sex party. That happens all the time. Look at that man. He obviously runs a sex parties because he lays pipe. They're just super onto him. And then they're hanging out on like a bridge like kids do. And you have some brief interactivity with throwing rocks at trash. And then he leaves the house. And they're like, look, see, he's leaving the house. But no woman with him this time. And so, you go in this kind of like little sneaky chase scene.
You're following him, yeah. Which is just following him across a bunch of jump cuts.
Yeah, you don't actually have to sneak. You just walk behind him. There's no way for you to catch up to him. And he ends up in a church, and you guys have to, like, go out of your...
Is it a church?
It's like an abandoned church, yeah. Or it's an abandoned...
Because the whole room they're in for the majority of the thing is a pool room. Why would a church have a pool?
Oh, I thought it was a church. I thought it was weird, too.
It's an abandoned building of some sort, but because he's swimming when they go when they're sneaking on him and watching. But there's a pool in this big area. Is it not just an abandoned? Is it even abandoned? I don't even know.
It's abandoned because there's a big old. It's under construction because the big old tree has fallen in the back and they're rebuilding it. Remember?
Yeah, I don't think it's a church. I want a church to have a big old pool in the middle of it.
It's the baptizing pool, bro.
The size of the entire room.
Yeah, why not? That we can baptize a bunch of people at once.
Okay. I don't think it's a church.
Anyway.
Some recreation center, probably.
Probably. But it looked like a church. I like the big marble columns and stuff. So it looked important. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, it all, like, you're like, oh, they're just following this guy. That's weird. But, like, the big final event is, like, there's a big green eerie light.
Yeah, he puts off this weird green light in the pool, which coming through the rest of the events of what eventually happening, like why is he doing that in the pool? The green light thing. When you kind of figure out what the green light thing is he's doing, when you kind of figured out like why is he doing that in the pool?
I'm going to assume that there are some sort of like ley lines or dimensional crossroads. Just based off of, they don't explain it at all, but based off my knowledge of other things like this, where people go between worlds and stuff like that, or dimension jump, there's usually a ley line or some sort of point where their realities cross or the lining is weakest.
It's at the pool?
I think for him, it might be at the pool.
But he has it in his house, too. His portal's in the house.
That is true.
Which you see, that's when the chick was with him. I'm jumping ahead, but his portal's in his house. So I don't understand the pool scene. The pool, initially get to the pool. But the thing is, he spots them.
Well, because they mess up and make a loud noise.
Make a noise, and they go to run, and he's chasing after them, and they don't like. It doesn't seem like he's going to do anything bad to him. But then one of the other character, does your character do it, or is one of the other characters?
Your character falls in one of your friends,
and then the friends clocks him in the back of the head,
knocks us out,
and it jumps to like they're back in the pool area, and they have him tied to a chair, and their plan is hold him captive indefinitely.
Yep.
I mean, there's a couple of chapters of this. Nothing actually. I don't think anything happened. Nothing happened in the first chapter. I don't think anything happens in the second chapter. Does it? Because what happens is eventually you're playing out these different scenes, and they're all taking turns watching this guy and bringing one food, and this person can go home and tell their dad they're okay, and I'm going back to their house. This whole elaborate thing just to hold this guy hostage. But he won't. He was not. He's been dead silent the entire time. Eventually, he starts speaking to what's your main character's name?
Donna.
He starts speaking to Donna, have these weird conversations.
And only to Donna.
He starts talking to Donna, and then sits silently otherwise. And you like do this weird scenes where you like, I want to stretch my legs. So you untie him and you walk laps around the pool while you have these weird conversations. And he asks Donna about her life and all this other strangeness. Becomes obsessed with her in a way, and her and her family.
It feels like it'd be like, oh, this is like a weird like young adult thing, and then because it plays out where like there's blossoming relationships with like one of her friends and stuff like that, and it kind of goes and goes, but there is definitely a distinct like he gets jealous, like you can see his face like contort and stuff like when they go off together. And you're like, this is so weird. And you're thinking, like, with all the other things that are going on with the weird space jumping and time, not necessarily time jumping. Well, kind of. But that's just from the prologue to the rest. So anyway. You're like, okay, maybe he's, like, he becomes obsessed with you. Like, maybe there's a reason. Maybe he is her, or maybe he's, like, maybe it's like his mom from the future or something. I don't know. Because you're just so confused by what's his obsession with her and why he gets so jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the ability, so you learn, I think at the end of chapter 2, to wipe people from existence.
Yeah, basically. And like wipe any memory of them. It's very strange. One part that confused me, and I told Blake about it later, and I guess I must have just missed the scene, or the scene was so vague, is that Donna has a sister who's engaged to another woman. And I guess the woman like follows them to the thing.
She follows them to the
recreation
building,
center.
Rec center.
So then like I must have like dozed off or something. And then like I see one chapter where Donna's talking to her sister, and they're talking about then the fiance's there, blah, blah, blah. And then like the next chapter, Donna's talking to her sister, and her sister's talking about going on dates. And I must have missed the scene somewhere. Blake told me later I must have just missed the scene.
Because it happens.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh God, what's happening? Wasn't she engaged last chapter? What is going on? But that was my own fault. But the guy had caught her and like just like wiped her. A little green light comes out of his eyes, and he just like wipes you from existence. He does it to her. He does it to the boy.
Eventually does it to everybody in her life.
Yeah, he wipes everybody, her life away out of existence until it's just her. It's just a weird series of events of him talking to her and different things going on, these weird conversations. And he's systematically wiping everybody she knows from existence. But does she still remember everybody?
Vaguely. Like she has like an inkling of like a shadow of a memory.
Like she's missing something. Like, yeah.
Because it gets to the point where she starts to think about it and she's like, none of this adds up. She's like, 4 days ago, I found you and I knocked you on the head after I fell over. Huh? And he's like, don't put too much thought into it. Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Because like he's deleted so much that there's no way it could possibly fit together if you thought about it at all. And she started thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then it all, I don't know.
It's a lot of weird stuff going on there. I don't really end up not liking this too much either. I didn't like
the big thing is he takes her captive.
Or is she captive or she just go with him? He's like,
he kidnaps her. He takes her to the other world, but then in the other world she gets her. Well, he takes her, and then in the other world. Because you finally do jump dimension. I'm not entirely sure.
The last thing you see in her chapter 6 is him going into his apartment with her, and then floating down through his portal he has inside of his apartment. So that's his portal jump, and then everything comes together. Well,
then she sees. That's when she starts putting the pieces together, and she realizes that she's being kidnapped.
I guess. When she's going down to the portal, don't she see everybody or something? Like they're all trapped
like in a
this
stasis field.
But like. You ever explain why he was doing that?
Oh, that he just wanted her to be his.
What he was doing to these people, and what's the point? What's the point of the power? Why was he doing it?
Nothing. He just wanted. Now he wanted her to be his. That's it. He's like, you're mine now.
Yeah.
That's
it. Like he's all nice and stuff, and then he goes through and then you go down to the thing, and then in her chapter 6. Now you start this. It's too complicated to get to how everybody gets involved in the last part. A lot of it's, I don't know. The final chapter starts, and everybody's in this other dimension, I guess, or like, I mean, there's just aliens everywhere. There's all different kinds of creatures, aliens, and everybody's okay with it.
No one freaks out. There's like,
not a one person freaks out. Like Mina, whatever, she crash lands in the desert
and gets helped by an alien.
Doesn't bat an eye. She goes like rocketing into the desert, crashes, breaks her old machine she's in, hops out, rescued by an alien. Then she just conveniently goes to the same town. Her hole's just in the desert. Their other doors, I guess, lead back to the same town. So they all conveniently end up in the same town. While dude is looking for the briefcase guy, she's looking for the company dude's friend, and then the other girl's getting dragged there by the stranger, who like. Takes her to this place, and like all of a sudden now, since he's got her there, he's real mean to her all the time. His attitude changes. He's real mean to her.
He has an attitude enema and just becomes a huge d-bag.
He just gets killed.
Yeah.
It's like because near the beginning of that whole thing, he's just killed.
She kills him.
Yeah, but it's just like
because
it doesn't come to anything. He just kills him.
Because Mina sees a young woman obviously in distress being kidnapped, and she's like, what's going on? He's like, don't ask questions. Get away from me, wench. And then while his back's turned, Donna, having now realized, because when she realizes that he then explains everything to her, he's like, there's no point in hiding it from you anymore. She then takes a sword off the wall and thrusts it through his chest. And that's the end of that story.
Yeah, it's over.
And then it still goes on to how they get back home, or if they get back home. And it's just...
This last part, man. This seems like it should have been like
the halfway
point of a bigger, better game, maybe. You know, and it's just like running and hollering and just. How do you quickly explain this final? I mean, we said like dude randomly killed. All the characters meet up somehow. I forget they all get arrested or something like that.
Well, they're all going to the council.
The council.
They're being taken to the council or whatever to figure out what the information they need.
Yeah. The shift here is so strange and abrupt.
So it's dramatic and insane, and I agree with what a lot of people say that this would have been a much better just limited series TV show or something, but it was not fun to play.
Yeah.
I hope
What's Donna's final choice?
Donna's final choice is the ghost of the stranger comes back to her.
Yeah.
Okay, the ghost of the stranger, and he was like, "Look, I'm sorry for how things turned out." And she's like, "Yeah, I killed you. What? Who cares?" She's like, "But," he's like, "We made a contract. I don't know when they made a contract." He's like, "I can leave you alone as you are now, forever. Bye. Everyone's gone from your life, or I could bring everybody back, and then when you die of natural causes, I'll come for you, and you'll be mine for the rest of your life, for the rest of eternity." Mm-hmm. And those are your choices.
Everybody chooses. Guaranteed, most people want to choose the family thing.
Yeah, because she's so because otherwise she's homeless, sitting in a sleeping bag in a sewer. Like, obviously she wants her life back, her loved ones, her mom, her sister, her soon-to-be sister-in-law, her best friend / boyfriend, and then her other best friend. Like, she would obviously want that to be happy and live out the next 80, 90 years, depending on how long she lives, and then just be with this guy. And then who knows, maybe she can kill him again in the afterlife. And
yeah, why is he not dead?
I don't know.
What is he? Who is he? Why is he different from any other alien they saw?
This is probably one of my least favorite gaming experiences I've had in a while, in all honesty. Like, it started out cool. Yeah. By the end of it, I was like, I can't stand this. Yeah. And the whole thing, like, my whole, what was your 1K game time? Did you have it wrote down?
Right at 6.5 hours.
Mine was like 9 and some change, almost 10. Yeah. Like, it's not that long. And I played over the course of like a weekend. And I was just annoyed.
Mm-hmm. Like, I enjoyed a lot of the paper doll scenes, but like the whole
but then it leading up to nothing makes me, I was like, oh, it was pointless.
Yeah, and the endings are just pointless. Everything about it's just such a drag, man. The whole thing's kind of a drag. I hate to say it, but as I said, they put a lot of work into this game, and we don't like to. We do crap on games sometimes.
We try our best not to, but they need.
This has major. I don't want. This has major writing issues. The writing is just all over the place.
They have 4 open positions. They need a 5th one for a writer,
a storyboarder or something. Just
they need a writer, or at least a proofreader to be like, this is kind of boring. We need to.
None of this make your eyes like you spent 6 chapters on a character.
They need a continuity editor. That's what they need.
Anything to make it make sense. I don't know. Yeah. Ooh, we spent a lot more time on that game than I thought we would.
Me too, but it was all bad. We don't like to rag on things, and maybe someone out there really gets a thrill out of this game, but I did not, and yeah. I'm sorry that I didn't.
Apologize to me. I might have liked it less than you did. I don't know.
I'm ready to go to a slightly happier.
This was on the at tail end of Game Pass for us. I'm glad it was on Game Pass. I would have been mad if I bought this game. Did 6.5 hours. It averages 6 to 8 hours on True Achievements. Retail price $24.99. I'd have been pissed off. I wouldn't buy this for any more than $10. I wouldn't buy this, period, if I was you. But if you're, like, again, supporting small developers, the game trailer looks cool to you. Anything we said sounds remotely appealing. I would not spend more than $10. And it's crazy. You would spend. I say you get more out of spending $10 on Gardens Between than you do of spending $10 on Gardens Between's an hour and a half, 2 hours. You get more out of Gardens Between than you do spending $10 on this 6 to 8 hour story-filled experience. The games aren't comparable in any way, but I'm just like, it's crazy for a price point. I'd rather spend $10 on Gardens Between than I would spend $10 on this. If I would have been upset. Like, if we'd bought this, that's why I love Game Pass. We're not a Game Pass podcast. But this is why I'm glad we have Game Pass sometimes, Game Pass and GameFly, because I'd have been really upset if I bought this.
Oh, for sure. For totes my goats.
Yeah. So, that's all we got for this game. We spent way more time on that game. I think you get complaining, you get kind of ranty, and your kind of thoughts start pouring out. We had a lot more to say about that game than I thought we would. And we did a lot of spoilers in there, but, it's a story game, and whether you're going to play it or not, I mean, if you didn't want it spoiled, you would have dipped out by now. So, With that said, that game sucked. I didn't like it. So write into us. Somebody write into us, explain to us, tell us why that game was good, and don't just write in and say, I think that game was good. I need some sort of explaining what was going on. I'll take a couple of paragraphs. Explain to me what was going on and why why anything mattered.
Let's move on. So the show I'm talking about, it's an anime, and it's called Soul Eater. The anime ran April 2008 into March 2009, a total of 51 episodes. Now, of course, it was a manga. All anime is a manga first. And the manga was 25 volumes from 2004 to 2013. Now, as of 2019, the entire manga as a series has sold over 19.6 million copies. That's bonkers.
It sounds bonkers. I mean, that does sound insane, but how is that related to... I don't know the manga industry.
I would assume that's still pretty good.
I mean, 19 million sounds nuts.
Well, that's also one of the things...
For something that nobody's talking about.
Because as you notice, it went from 2004 to 13, but the manga only went from 2008 to 2009. Mm-hmm. So what they did is, in the show, they decided to... There were certain bad guys and stuff that... they decided to straight up kill off instead of like hurting them and having them come back later. They just said, let's just kill them off. And so the anime does end, mm-hmm. but it ends before the show does, before the manga does. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of tell because there's some stuff kind of going off in that final couple of episodes where like some character, but it all kind of wraps it up in a fairly good bow.
I don't remember. Like I said, I think that's the beginning of the podcast. It's been like a long time since we watched this. I remember liking it quite a bit, but
it's created by Atsushi Okubo, and he is he's only written a couple of things. This being his first thing, Soul Eater being the first thing he did, and then he kind of branched out and did, because he's also an artist. He did some light story, character art, and creature art for Bravely Default and Bravely Default Second End Layer for the DS. And then those were kind of enough, and then he went on to do a spin-off series of Soul Eater Not, which takes place a few years after, following a different group of people and some other classes.
That's just a manga?
Mm-hmm. Well, manga, and it turned to an anime, but no one seems to like that one as much. And then after Not, a pretty popular one nowadays is he's responsible for the manga and anime of Fire Force. He's doing that one currently. So he's been pretty active since early 2000s to now. And one of the cool things about this is it's not your most anime like we get over in America. It's like, the real big popular ones are like Shonen Jump and stuff like that. Though this was actually published by Square Enix's manga subsidiary. Yeah, it's actually published. It's essentially 3 one-shots, and then they're like, we like this. Give us more. and then it turned into more. But it's actually published by Square Enix.
That's strange.
They're a conglomerate, but they use Square Enix.
They're a big publisher. I mean,
to cover everything. The general story for Soul Eater is your main couple of characters go to a thing called the Death Weapon Meister Academy. And the whole point of this is you have Death, who runs this academy. But he's trying, there's too much going on in the world, and so he has to get other people to go out and be his Grim Reapers for him, basically. And so the whole point of this, and your whole trial, is you have to kill 99 evil human souls. You have to kill them, trap them, and bring them to death. And then your 100th soul must be that of a witch. It's 99 evil humans and a one witch. It's 100 souls total to complete whatever ritual to elevate you. And it has to be done in that order. You can't just go, let me go kill a witch real quick and then do these. No, it has to be done in that order. And it's been popular enough that has actually spawned 3 video games as well. On the PSP, there's one, and it covered the first half of the anime, the first 24, 25 episodes. And then there's another one on the DS called the Medusa plot, or the plot of Medusa, and it follows the entire storyline in both anime and manga of the Medusa character. And then there's an entirely original one for the Wii that has its own original characters, own original everything. And they all seem to be like a third-person hack and slash, which
makes sense.
Yeah,
that's kind of the anime games you get. You get that, you get fighting games, and you get move style games when it comes to anime.
that's really about it.
We're getting a couple of JRPGs. They did what's it called recently? It's coming, or not coming out yet, but there's a big old, there's 2 of them. Is it Demon Slayer maybe? And then there's like a One Piece big old JRPG coming out.
I think so.
Trying to branch out a little bit from that normal, because I think One Piece has already had like 3 or 4 move style games.
And like I said, I love a good turn-based RPG, and turn-based also opens up for awesome art. Or I wish some things would take this, where the original one, where just give me an anime universe, but give me an original story in the anime universe.
This is like the proper way to do it, probably.
A lot of things like the Xenoverse and stuff like that, those are very popular. And same thing with the Jump Force; those were incredibly popular.
The Jump Force game got canceled. I mean, basically,
but
it got canned.
It was popular.
It came out and got canned.
Anyway, so basically, what happens is with the reason it's called Death Weapon Meister is you have a Meister and a weapon. Now, these weapons can be. They can basically shapeshift from being a weapon to a humanoid person with a personality. And we have a pretty good chunk of characters. One of the best things about this is every character has something slightly wrong with them. Some big old quirky thing, and it makes it real fun to watch everyone on screen and interact.
Yeah.
You meet other people, but your core team of people is 3. You have Maka, and you have Black Star and Death the Kid, which is Death's actual son.
Remember, it's been a long time since I watched about it. I remember Black Star being somebody we really liked. Didn't it Black Star?
Black Star started, we're like, oh my, he's that loud, hyper energy character, and we're like, oh my god, he's so annoying, we're gonna hate him. But then like episode 4 or 5, you're like, this dude's awesome and hilarious, because he is that guy who's hyperactive. It's like, I can do anything I set my mind to. And he's just so stupid and endearing, but he's so fun. Because each of these characters, Maka, Black Star, and Kid, they each have their weapon, which usually tends to be kind of similar or opposite. You know, it's a counterpart to them. Now for Maka, hers is oddly enough, she's the main character, but the whole show is named after her weapon. His name is Soul Eater Evans, because he has a last name. They all have last names, but he turns into a scythe. That's he forms into a scythe. Now you have Black Star, and his counterpoint is Tsubaki. She is unique into herself because she turns into a plethora of weapons. She's what they called like a ninjutsu specialist. She can turn into like a katana, shuriken, fan. She can turn to like a couple of a grapple hook. And she was completely calm and stoic to Blackstar's wacky, crazy, wild attitude. And then you have Kid. He's Death of the Kid, but everyone just calls him Kid. He has a set of twins, and they turn into dual pistols, and that is Patty and Liz Thompson. And you're like, what is humans turning into weapons? What is going on? It makes sense in the world, and it is a super fun world. And it kind of there's fantastic English voicing, and I'm not going through everybody. I'm literally going to go through of all the people. She seemed to be the one that I knew the most about, and since she is the main character, I'm just going to do her real quick. Maka is voiced by Laura Bailey. Now, Laura Bailey has been in everything. She's in all sorts of stuff. But kind of just a couple of things in more recent history that might be more popular is anything animated that's Black Widow, she is the voice of Black Widow. Including the video games, the Lego games, she is the voice of Black Widow animated. And has been for the last 20-something years, if not longer. She's also the voice of Chun-Li. And anytime Chun-Li from the Street Fighter series has ever spoken in anything, as far as I can tell within the last, at least the last 20 years, she's Chun-Li, and that's all that really matters. She is also, in Final Fantasy 13, the voice of Sarah Farron. And
she reprised the role through all three games.
In all iterations of her. So when she appears in other games, like those mobile games or whatever, when she has new dialogue, she does that too. Because I'm going to save kind of her biggest thing for last. I'm going to do these other ones. We talked about this off podcast, but Hunted, A Demon's Forged, she's the voice of the female lead, the elf Ilara.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And in Naruto, in regular Naruto and Boruto, she's the voice of Kushina Uzumaki. And in Boruto, she's the voice of Sarada, which is Sasuke and Sakura's daughter. Anyway, but one of her bigger things is she's the voice of young Chi-Chi in Dragon Ball. Which is kind of cool. But her biggest thing is she was and is still the voice of Kid Trunks. In all video game iterations, all the anime, the movies, Super Z, she is the voice of Kid Trunks. So I'm like, and she has so many other things under her belt, but some of them are, again, I don't watch a whole lot of anime.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty crazy. Like I said, every single one of the voice actors too, they're still acting and they're still doing stuff. I think one of them, matter of fact, I brought this up because Laura Bailey is the voice of Trunks. The voice actress, I didn't catch her name, but the voice actress for Tsubaki is the English voice actress for Bulma. Always has been. And a couple of these other ones were doing like stuff as early as like one of them is the Princess Sarah in Stranger's Paradise. Final Fantasy Origins Stranger Paradise.
They got DLC announced recently.
Yeah.
That'll be on our co-op episodes.
The show is funny and cool, and it's got awesome choreography and some really awesome music if you're into the best thing I think of maybe like lounge or jazz piano. Because it's got really good music, I think.
I don't remember.
Well, because I only remember because Soul, he is a pianist, and one of their, like, all animes have power-ups, and their big power-up is like, ooh, let's do resonance, let's do soul resonance, and they have their souls vibrate on, that boosts their powers, lets them do crazy things, where they kind of merge their souls into one temporarily, and they do that because Soul, in his mind palace, plays a piano, and they all kind of sync up to the beat of him playing a piano and fight. And the choreography is pretty awesome. The story is fun. The art's great. But there's two characters, real quick. Spirit, who is Maki's father, who is also the actual Grim Reaper Death's weapon. And he's voiced by Vic Mignogna, who people will know as he's Edward Elric from the Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, and Brotherhood.
And Brotherhood, he's the voice of Edward. He has a bunch of other things, but Edward Elric is the big one.
That's the big one.
And we've talked about, we've used this exact term since we've watched the show, is whenever you call somebody a fool, is there's a character. Now, usually Excalibur. Now, usually how the thing works is people have to mesh and they have to be able to sync with their weapon. The reason Excalibur is crazy because they kind of do the exact opposite. Excalibur and all Arthurian legends can be wielded by the one true king. How this works is Excalibur is hands down the most powerful weapon in the entire world, and he can be used by anybody, but no one likes him as a person. And so everyone usually ends up putting him back because no one can stand working with Excalibur. Because everyone is a fool, everyone is weak. He's like, you fool. You know, he's fantastic. And he's voiced by Troy Baker.
This is Troy Baker before he really got real big, probably.
This is like 2004 Troy Baker when he was still like, let me do anything to get some money.
You can't really even tell that Excalibur is Troy Baker.
No, but it's awesome that it is.
Yeah.
Now, I've kind of bounced around a little bit because it's hard to talk about anime without getting too crazy.
Yeah.
And it is, I think it's fun. It's super great, super fun. And the fact that it actually ends, unlike some animes.
Yeah, we've been tricked by a couple animes.
I can't recommend Soul Eater enough. I haven't watched Soul Eater not, but a lot of consensus is don't bother. I've watched a good chunk of Fire Force, and that is good. Did I do a good enough job explaining kind of?
How do you explain anime? Well, if you don't already watch anime, you ain't gonna watch this anime. I mean, you got to kind of already get the gist of anime.
Like, it starts out like, you know, all the students are trying to get their assigned missions. Well, they have to go to school, and then they are assigned missions like, oh, go hunt this evil human soul. Like the first episode is they don't call him by his name, but it's definitely Jason Voorhees. It's a dude in a mechanic onesie or whatever, an overall wielding I think he's wielding a giant axe instead of machete, but he definitely has, I think he has like a goalie keeper hockey mask on, and they're going around fighting him. But they're calling him like John the Killer or something like that, some stupid thing. But the whole thing early on, it has a lot of like references to like horror characters. But then it moves into its own thing, it gets more serious and talks about like its own wackadoo thing. If you like anime and you haven't seen Soul Eater, I highly recommend it.
That it?
Yeah, that's really all I got.
Yeah, any do you have like a tagline for the anime or anything like that? I don't know if animes have tagline. It ain't worth searching for, really. I guess we wrap up here. Thank everybody for listening. Keep coming back for more. We're going to keep making these things for who knows how long. I want to thank Jared from Emerge for letting us use the song, the Emerge song "Letting Go" as for our intro music. We love that. It's really awesome. Always want to thank him for letting us do that. It's badass. There's no way around it. It's just cool hearing that as our intro song. I want to thank, of course, Devious.Pixel. He is the artistic face of our podcast. If you follow the podcast, you've seen him do lots of different things for all our guests and stuff like that. And we use Devious.Pixel for our other podcast as well. So it's really awesome to see him kind of go across things. It's his art, of course, is all over our merchandise. You know, thank all that. Make sure that stuff gets remembered, because I just now started. I talked about before that I've been doing it on the other podcast. I need to do it on this one. So anyway, that's all I got. I don't really have any. I got very faint memories of Soul Eater, so I need to watch it again sometime, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, mix it in with all the other 1,000 shows we need to watch. But that's all I got. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again shortly. Oh, of course, follow us on Twitch to kind of catch us on our new little endeavors here with co-op endeavors with our cousin Brian as we make our way through Dark Souls 3. So follow that page and you'll see us. You'll get the little notifications when we're going to go live. I try to announce it on social media a few hours before if I can, and then you'll see the notification on Twitch when we go live. So come join us on that and watch us fumble around through Dark Souls 3.
I want to wish everybody a good evening and good night.
「世界は黒く染まって 吐く息は白いままなのに今をぶっ壊しに行こうって約束したあの日から